I sat still as she dropped the folder onto my desk. Her smirk didn't even bother hiding. "Pack your things," she said, arms folded. "You've been caught stealing. IT traced it back to your credentials. I want you gone before lunch." Her name was Belle Hartman, Chief Operating Officer. My boss for the past 6 months. Though everyone knew she got the role because her fiancé sat on the board. What she didn't know was, I had already prepared for this moment. I didn't respond right away. I just stared at the folder. Fake audit reports. Fabricated transfers. Someone had taken my credentials and planted a trail. But I had seen it coming weeks ago. She thought I was slow. Predictable. Obedient. I stood up, loosened the badge from around my neck and set it down gently. No argument. No panic. Just quiet control. "You have 10 minutes, I said. Belle blinked. "Excuse me?" "10 minutes, I repeated, glancing at the digital clock behind her. "That's how long you have before the first phone call hits legal. Before your accounts freeze. Before the people funding this company see exactly what's been happening behind closed doors." Her face cracked just slightly. "What are you talking about?" I stepped toward the door. "If I were you, I'd start making calls." And then I left. Not in shame. Not in fear. But with the confidence of someone who had been quietly documenting every dishonest dollar moved through that company for the past 8 months, and storing it in an encrypted folder named after her wedding date. The countdown had already begun, and she had no idea that everything was about to collapse. I didn't go home. I didn't even look back. Instead, I walked 3 blocks down to a quiet coffee shop I'd scouted months ago. Corner booth. No cameras. No regulars. Just a steady hum of espresso machines and jazz through the speakers. I ordered black coffee, sat down and opened my laptop. The folder was already uploaded to a private server. Labeled innocently, Q4 _budget notes. Inside it, a full chain of evidence. Diverted funds from project budgets. Inflated vendor invoices linked to fake companies. Internal emails suggesting expense approvals never requested. Every traceable. Every time-stamped. All routed through Belle's access codes, and backed by screenshots of her directives. I hadn't built the empire, but I'd quietly kept its ledgers. And once I saw the corruption trickle in, I did what any quiet man does when he's underestimated. I paid attention. I documented. And I waited. The board wouldn't need much. Just one trigger. One undeniable red flag. So I sent a single email. To Grant Ellison, the founder. The man who once told me during a Christmas party, "Loyalty isn't loud. It's watching who never flinches when things get ugly." I attached the file. Subject line. "You deserve to know before the headlines do." Then I closed the laptop. Outside the window the sky had shifted. Clouds gathering. People still rushing by, unaware of the small storm about to hit the 43rd floor of the Hartman and Vale building. I sipped my coffee slowly. And somewhere in that building, Belle was realizing something far worse than being caught. That I had never raised my voice, never threatened, never warned her. She fired me for theft. And now everything she stole was about to cost her everything. By noon I knew the board had the files. I didn't need confirmation. You can feel a building shift when a bomb has been dropped inside it. Whispers. Unscheduled meetings. Executive assistants pacing with tight faces. I'd seen it all before, when other companies collapsed from the top down. But this time I was the one who pulled the first brick. Grant responded within the hour. "Thank you. Come in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Quietly. I knew what that meant. By 1 p.m. Belle had locked her office door. By 2 p.m., legal was parked on the 40th floor. By 3:17 p.m. the IT team cut her admin privileges. And I simply walked into the small co-working space I'd quietly leased 2 months ago. Because I hadn't just built a case. I'd built an exit. A startup, focused on internal audit automation. A concept I'd pitched twice to the exec team. Both times rejected. Belle had said, "Too niche. Not worth the budget." I nodded then. But I built it anyway, after hours. Coded the backend. Designed the UI. Recruited a small, hungry team. And secured angel funding. That afternoon I hit send on a press release. Former Hartman and Vale CEO launches disruptive compliance tech company. Within minutes, inboxes lit up. LinkedIn exploded. Belle's name? Suddenly attached to phrases like embezzlement and corporate fraud in public speculation. And the irony? The woman who smirked while firing me for theft was now boxed in by her own paper trail. That's the thing about arrogance. It makes you think people like me, the ones who speak softly, take notes, and stay late, are invisible. Until one day, we're the only ones left standing. Belle didn't go down without a fight. The next morning I arrived early. Same suit. Same calm. Just a different badge, one that said, Strategic Consultant to the board. Security buzzed me in without hesitation. Belle arrived 20 minutes later, sunglasses on indoors, lips pursed so tightly it looked like she was holding in venom. She didn't look at me. Didn't have to. Her heels struck the marble floor like a warning, too late. Inside the boardroom the energy was electric. Half disbelief, half thrill. Grant stood as I entered and gestured for me to sit, at the head. I believe you all have the report, he said. They did. Every expense Belle had hidden in obscure vendor chains. Every fraudulent bonus routed through shell consulting firms she controlled. Every signature. Every fake timestamp. Every server log. Silent faces read through the pages like they were touching live wires. Then came the cherry on top, video footage, Belle herself admitting to a subordinate, "Don't worry. Finance doesn't know where to look. I built the maze." That maze was now printed, indexed, and color-coded in front of 10 board members. She tried to speak. "Let's not pretend this wasn't political," she hissed. "This is about power, not numbers." I leaned forward, voice level. "No. This is about trust. You lost it. And then you bet no one would notice." Silence followed. Then a motion was passed, unanimous. Termination for cause. Effective immediately. She stood there, stunned, a $1 million empire unraveling at her feet. I thought she might scream. Instead, she laughed once, short and bitter, then turned and walked out without another word. And just like that, the Empress of Hartman and Vale fell. But my plan wasn't just about removing her. It was about replacing what she broke. And that part was just beginning. When Belle left, no one stood up. No one said goodbye. The weight of her downfall echoed louder than any closing door. But I wasn't done. The board had questions, not about the past but about the future. About me. I answered with precision. Calm. Strategic. Every word rooted in the truth I had waited 2 years to tell. I stayed silent because this company mattered more than ego. More than credit. While she played empire games, I built the infrastructure that kept this place standing. Grant nodded. You were the architect. She just put her name on the building. Exactly. I laid out my vision. Streamlined operations. Transparent budgeting. An employee-first culture. Every detail backed with data, models, and projections that painted not just a comeback but a revolution. They asked for time. I gave them space. But I could see it, the shift. From suspicion to consideration. From, "Who are you?" to, "Where have you been?" That afternoon I walked the floor. Dozens of employees I'd mentored over the years watched me with a strange blend of relief and hope. Some nodded. Some smiled. One even clapped, softly, like they'd just witnessed a quiet rebellion succeed. In my office, yes, my office now, I opened a drawer and pulled out a small framed photo. It was old. Pre-suit. Pre-politics. Just me, an empty warehouse, and a whiteboard with a dream scrawled across it. Create something worth protecting. I placed it on my desk, exactly where it had been before Belle moved in. And I sat down not as a victim, but as the one who finally reclaimed what should have never been stolen. The company hadn't fallen. It had just been waiting for the right person to lead it again. And I was ready. 3 hours later it began. First, the bank froze her primary account. Then the investor group she'd been so proud to impress issued a formal withdrawal notice. By sundown, her prized board seat was suspended pending an ethics investigation. I didn't gloat. I didn't post anything online. I simply let the system she built, the one I'd been quietly maintaining for years, respond to her betrayal. Because Belle didn't just fire me. She forgot who built the engine while she polished the hood. The software license I revoked? That was the internal CRM tool I developed when we couldn't afford third-party solutions. When her new assistant couldn't access any client records, the chaos began. The production schedule? The one I designed on my own time? I'd handed over transition docs to the team, just not to her. And the old contract with the city? She didn't even know the renewal deadline was last week. Because I'd always handled it. Quietly. Now the city was open for bids again. And guess whose name was already on the table? That night I got a call from one of the junior partners. "It's a mess here," he said. "People are scared. The clients are confused." I listened. Then I offered help. Not revenge. Not leverage. Leadership. "Bring me in the right way," I said, "and we'll fix it. Together." He hesitated, then agreed. By the end of the week, I wasn't just reinstated. I was offered a controlling interest. And Belle? She still had her name on the door. But names mean nothing when the office key stops working. She thought she'd humiliate me. She didn't realize I was the only reason she looked powerful to begin with. The day I returned, no one clapped. No one cheered. But every head turned when I walked in. Not because I was loud, I wasn't. I entered with the quiet assurance of a man who'd been underestimated one too many times. The receptionist stood up instinctively. The staff who'd been told I was terminated for misconduct now looked unsure, exchanging glances. I gave them a polite nod and kept walking. The office Belle once called hers? Empty. She hadn't shown up since Monday. After the audit notice, the investor pullout, the license suspension, and the city contract fiasco, she'd stopped answering calls. Her lawyer had reached out, demanding severance and brand protection clauses. We declined. The truth would stay buried, but she would never lead here again. The new board, including 2 people I mentored, voted unanimously to restructure. I didn't take the title of CEO. I didn't need it. Instead, I sat in the chair I'd once designed, back when we couldn't afford ergonomic ones, and pulled up the very first plan I ever made for this company. A blueprint from 5 years ago stored in my private archive. We would rebuild. Not from scratch, from something stronger. Legacy. That evening, I received one last email from Belle. I didn't mean for it to go this way, it read. We were good once. You were just too invisible. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the message to myself, archived it, and shut down for the night. The office lights dimmed behind me. But I didn't look back. Because you don't chase ghosts when you finally become visible. Not loud, not bitter, just visible. And when power returns to the hands that actually earned it, there's no need to shout. It took a full week for the dust to settle. Belle's empire collapsed like it was made of wet paper. Contracts frozen. Clients quietly walked away. Vendors demanded upfront payments she couldn't make. Her personal accounts, long blended illegally with company funds, were frozen under investigation. She tried to call me. I didn't answer. I didn't block her either. I wanted her to hear the silence. The consequence of burning bridges she thought she'd never need to cross again. The board filed official charges to protect the company. Not because I asked, but because they saw the truth laid out clearly, the emails, the fake transactions, the manipulation. The same people who once praised her charm now recoiled from her name. I didn't celebrate. Instead, I made one final move. I reinstated every employee she wrongfully terminated, including the janitor she humiliated in front of the staff for using her elevator. His name was Marcus. He walked into the break room with tears in his eyes when he saw his badge reactivated. That moment? That's what power should be used for. Not revenge. Not spectacle. Just setting things right. I still pass Belle's old corner office sometimes. It's locked now, not out of shame but respect. A reminder that even the most beautiful empires can rot from the inside if built on ego instead of backbone. They offered me her office. I declined. I preferred the desk I started at, near the windows where I could hear the city. The same city I once dreamed of conquering. But now I just want to build something that outlives me. Belle taught me that, by doing everything wrong. And as I sipped my coffee that morning, watching a new hire get welcomed by the team, I smiled. Not out of spite, but because I finally understood. I wasn't fired. I was freed.